I'm Pat Gilmore. I am a net trainer for Project Manager Soldier Lethality, and we are going to cover the mounting of the M157 small arms fire control on the M250 automatic rifle. The first step of the process is one, to ensure that the weapon is properly unloaded and cleared. Which it is. The tools that we're going to need to use are either a torque wrench that is calibrated in inch pounds with a corresponding 1/2 inch bit driver, or a issued or fielded 1/2 inch wrench that comes as part of the BII for the M157 small arms fire control. The first step in the process of mounting or assembling the M157 small arms fire control is to establish proper length of pull of the stock. The purpose of establishing proper length of pull of stock is to ensure that you have enough leverage on the weapon when employing it, as well as building the proper biomechanics of the weapon in relationship to holding it in order to hold, aim, and fire the weapon. A very good general rule of thumb for establishing the proper length of pull is to extend the stock, place the stock in your elbow, and when the heel of your hand indexes the back strap of the pistol grip, that is an adequate length of pull. If it is not aligned properly, collapse the stock by one stock position, and once the heel of your hand aligns with the back strap of the pistol grip, now you have adequate length of pull. You may find that when you're wearing kit, you may need to collapse the stock by one position in order to accommodate the space created by your kit. The next step is on the rail grabber of the M157, you're going to back out both of the 1/2 inch nuts counterclockwise until full stop. These are captured nuts, which means they will not, by design, come off of the mounting studs. Don't try to take them off of the mounting studs. Once you have the length of pull established, you're going to rough place in aligning the M157 just to get it approximately in the position to establish eye relief. It's important though that the full length of the rail grabber is fully grabbing the 1913 rail section. If you mount it too far rearward, it won't have full bearing surface and it'll be overhanging the 1913 rail. It's important to have full bearing surface. To start out with, if you mount it to rough it in to where you have one rail slot exposed, that'll be an approximate location to start the proper assembly procedures to establish eye relief. At this point, tighten down by turning clockwise both of the 1/2 inch nuts to where they're just hand tight, so the M157 is retained on the 1913 rail section. And at this point, you are going to open up your rear lens cap and your front lens cap. You are going to assume a supported shooting position to ensure natural point of aim and proper sight alignment. You are going to mount the weapon, establish adequate cheek to stock weld, close your eyes, open up your eyes, and you are going to observe for any symmetrical scope shadow in your field of view. If you have symmetrical scope shadow in your field of view, your eye relief is improper. We need to establish approximately 3.4 inches of eye relief from the rear lens, the ocular lens, to your eyeball. If you have scope shadow present, you can either push your head forward or pull your head rearward to determine where you need to adjust your M157 to remove the scope shadow. I have scope shadow present now. By moving my head forward, it reduces the scope shadow. So I'm going to dismount the M157 by turning both of the mounting nuts counterclockwise to loosen until they come to a full stop. I'm going to remove the M157 I'm going to move it forward one rail slot, and then I'm going to retighten, hand tight, both the 1/2 inch nuts. And then I'm going to assume a supported position, establish my cheek stock weld while having my eyes closed. And I'm going to open my eyes and I'm going to observe for a symmetrical donut shadow. If the shadow is not present, I'm going to adjust my magnification, increase it up to a higher magnification to observe if there's still shadow present. And then I'm going to dial the magnification all the way up to full 8 power to observe for scope shadow. If scope shadow is present, I'm going to determine where I need to move my head forward or rearward to remove the shadow. If there's no shadow present, proper eye relief has been established. Once the proper eye relief has been established, then I'm going to finish tightening it down by turning the 1/2 inch nuts slightly to where the M157 is loose within the rail slots. And then I'm going to push downward to ensure that the rail grabber is fully engaged. I'm going to push forward to ensure that the recoil lugs are engaged within the rail. And then I'm going to hand tighten both 1/2 inch nuts. And then I'm going to finish tightening them with a tool. If the only tool that you have available is the 1/2 inch wrench that is fielded with the M157, I'm going to use this. I'm going to mount the 1/2 inch wrench and I'm going to turn it clockwise, tightening 1/3 of a turn on one nut or the other. And then I'm going to turn the other one 1/3 of a turn and tighten it down. That should achieve approximately 65 inch-pounds, which is the torque specification for the M157. If you have a inch-pound torque wrench available, you will set your torque wrench to 65 inch-pounds. And you will go through the tightening procedures the same as you did with a 1/2 inch wrench, except you're going to use the tool to determine the torque setting. You'll turn it until, in this case, this is a braking torque wrench, until the torque wrench achieves the 65 inch-pounds, and you'll just check it back and forth a couple of times to ensure that the mounting nuts have no more free turn in it. That concludes mounting of the M157 on the M250.